What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com and, of course, the NoDQ YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching this week, as you have every week since my return. It's greatly appreciated. Let's get into your questions. First two today come from Brandon Real 18 on Twitter. What would you have done differently with Goldberg? Train him more. Honestly, train him more and let him have matches that weren't 30 seconds in length every single week. It was bad. That's the way a squeaky chair. Goldberg, and personally, our personal history with Goldberg is not very nice. He was very rude to Mike on the phone when we tried to interview with him. He hung up on Mike. But Goldberg, I think, we talk about overrated, underrated on this show all the time. Goldberg was way overrated. He was terrible in the ring. And I would have trained him a lot more and given him more of a technical background than just a 30-second machine, because once he had to start wrestling more, look how shitty he looked. Once he had to do those 15, 20-minute matches, he looked like garbage, because he was. In your opinion, who was the best on the mic and in the ring from the Attitude Era? I'd pick Rock for the mic and Angle for the in-ring. Hard to argue with that. I'd say on the mic, definitely The Rock. Agree with you there. Rock was something special on the microphone. And as far as the in-ring, I'd say either Kurt Angle or Triple H. Triple H had both. Triple H was awesome on the mic and in the ring. So if you had Angle's wrestling prodigy skills with The Rock's mic skills, you had Triple H. This is from Andrew McManus 24 on Twitter. Hey Jeff, who wins a Dynasty tag team match between the Harts and the Anoa'i family? On the Anoa'i side, you have Reigns, Tamina, and the Wild Samoans. And on the Hart side, you have Davey Boy Smith, Natalya, Owen, and Brett. There's no contest. The Harts win that one. You've got five-time WWF champion, multi-time WCW World Champion. You got Owen Hart and Brett. You got Owen Hart, who is a multi-time champion and of all championships except the big one. Natalya, multi-time Divas champion, and Davey Boy Smith, multi-time tag champion, multi-time and multi-time European champion, I think, and Intercontinental champion, Hardcore champion. And on the other side, you got Reigns, who is a reigning main eventer, a WWE champion. You've got Tamina, who is okay, but not as good as Natalya, and the Wild Samoans, who were just basic brawlers. I think if you stack up those two teams against each other 4-on-4, the Hart family definitely stacks up better. This is from Joe Allen 12894 on Twitter. What WWE Championship belt needs a new design? I know the Tag Team Championship belts are an obvious choice. The Divas Championship is foremost in my mind. Maybe bring back the Women's Championship or rechristen it the Women's Championship, and bring back the old late 90s, early 2000s belt, or whatever it was, till 2010. That Divas belt is gross. It's hideous. I don't like the color. I don't like the design. It's just ugly. The U.S. Championship. I have said from the get that U.S. Championship belt looks like a freaking toy. It looks like something you would go into Kmart and buy. And you can now, because they have the toy ones. You can buy at Kmart for your kids. I would never wear that championship if I was U.S. champion. I would bring back the old WCW US design, or even the NWA Jim Crockett US design, which is now featured in a book that Barry Windham wore, Lex Luger wore, Michael P.S. Hayes wore, and those guys. Either of those designs would be loads better than the current belt. And yes, the Tag Team Championship definitely needs a redesign. Those press pennies are ridiculous looking. This next guy on Twitter is down with OPC. How far would Muhammad Hassan have gone had he not been forced to leave? I think that gimmick had a brief shelf life anyway. I mean, granted, the whole terrorist attack thing, Undertaker really doomed him to to exile. But the anti-American guy from the Middle East is played out. You had the Iron Sheik do it. You had Slaughter and Adnan do it. You know, you had Nikolai Volkov do it from Russia. You had the Canadians do it. It's like, okay, we get it. You don't like America. But in this current day and age, do we really give a shit? Just be a good wrestler. And the proof was in the pudding because Daivari got split off from Hassan after Hassan got fired. And Daivari did very well for himself in WWE. And even in TNA also. So to say that Hassan would have gone far, I think is a bit of a overstatement. Because that gimmick itself had very little shelf life to it in the first place. Seahawk Brohawk. God, these Twitter names are fucking awesome. Seahawk Brohawk on Twitter. Is the term legendary overused by Michael Cole, or is it just me? He seems to say it for every past star. Well, you have to understand something, Seahawk Brohawk. When the WWE brings the stars of the past back, they want the impact, no pun intended, to be made when those guys appear. And they want them to see them as legendary or as iconic or as, you know, the big stars that they once were and still could be if they were in their prime today. Is it overused? Yes, very much so. Much like he overused Vintage a few years ago. But I think that he's just doing what is in his ear. And you gotta remember, Vince is in these guys' ears all show. Except when he's in the ring cutting a promo, Vince is in their ear. And when it's not Vince, it's Hunter. So they're doing what they're told. So to blame Michael Cole for that is grossly unfair. And I think that if anybody's to blame, it's the hierarchy. And I think that, you know, they do overuse everything in terms of terminology. But that's what they're trying to do to sell the product. Aaron Sones on Twitter. Hey Jeff, who is your favorite WWE diva who wasn't a good wrestler? Mine was Tori Wilson, thanks. Stacy Keibler. That's a simple answer. I adored Stacy Keibler. I thought she was so pretty, and I thought she had an unbelievable charisma to her that WCW just freaking damn near wasted away before the sale, and WWE brought her over and just shot her to the stratosphere. No pun intended, Trish. And Stacy was the best non-working diva that I ever saw. Coming for Hogan, this guy is on Twitter. What match sounded horrible on paper, but the storyline got you invested in the match, ultimately exceeded your expectations? Oh, boy. Honestly, any match really with Shane McMahon. You know, you wouldn't expect Shane O'Mac to deliver on a pay-per-view, deliver on TV in a match because he's not a wrestler. He's an executive. But every time he stepped in there has been consistently pretty decent. I'll give him credit. His matches with Steve Blackman were unbelievable. The bumps he would take to get a match over just were phenomenal. No pun intended, AJ. And the match that sticks out most with Shane to me is one with Test at SummerSlam 1999, the lover reliever match, where Shane first did his first really big bump with that elbow off the top rope through the table. Anything with Shane sounded bad on paper when you would think about it, but when he would deliver, you'd be like, wow. You would be amazed. This is from Devin Sharon, who is the greatest European hardcore champion. Greatest European champion is William Regal. He carried that championship like nobody else. He was so good as European champion. Close second was Triple H. He was great too. And he had D'Lo Brown, of course, and X-Pac, but I think Triple H and William Regal were the two best. And hardcore champion, Rob Van Dam. No question about that. This is from Jojo Swift on Twitter. Why do you think the Power and Glory was never a top tag team? Because Hercules was a mid-carder at best, never going to be a main eventer, and because Paul Roma sucked. It's as simple as that. And Aaron laughs, but it's the truth. Roma was never good. He wasn't a good young stallion. He was not good in Power and Glory. He sure as shit wasn't a good horseman. Roma always sucked. And Hercules got settled with that lameoid for the last part of his WWF career. And look where it took Hercules. Right down the crapper. He even had Slick and he still sucked. He was awful.